So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our next session, which is a panel session on data protection and data privacy, the need of the hour. And without further ado, I would like to call on stage the honorable panel members in the order of the sequence. And please help me welcome them with a big round of applause. Joining us first for this panel session is Mr. Piyush Srivastav, Head IT from Muthoot Group. A big round of applause to Piyush ji. Welcome to the stage, sir. Please have your seat, sir. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Sanjay Kumar, DGM and CISO from IRIDA. Do we have Sanjay ji in the panel? All right. So I think Sanjay ji had taken a leave of absence due to some urgent work. I thought of just informing the audience. Joining next in the panel after Piyush ji is Mr. Ranjan Das, CISO and Head of Information Security, HPCL-Mittal Energy. A big round of applause to Mr. Das. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Sanjeev Kaushik, Head of Cybersecurity, Adani Airport Holdings. A big round of applause to Kaushik ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal, Associate Director, Cybersecurity from MakeMyTrip. A big round of applause to Vaibhav ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Pyush Maheshwari, Head of IT RPSG Group. A big round of applause to Mr. Maheshwari. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. And now, would like to call on the honorable panel moderator, Mr. Vivek Gupta, Vice President and CISO from Mankind Pharma. A big round of applause to Vivek ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Sure. So I think the honorable panel members have also requested Mr. Ranganathan Iyer from JVM Group to be part of the panel. So do we have Iyer sir here? All right, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause to Mr. Ranganathan Iyer from JVM Group for joining the panel. Welcome to the panel, sir. So here's wishing the panel members a great session ahead, and all over to Vivek ji. Looking forward to a great session, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our session is right after the lunch. It will be tough to keep the audience awake, but my panelists have promised me that we will make this panel interesting, informative, so that your energy levels are high and you can focus on what we are going to discuss. May I first request all the panelists from left to introduce themselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Piyush. Piyush Srivastav. I am the head of IT for the Muthoot Group for the northern operations. And Muthoot Group, as you would know, is an NBFC primarily into gold loans, and we are top layer NBFC. So a lot of action happening there. So we'll discuss about that during the course of this summit. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Ranjan Das. I head the cybersecurity in HPCL-Mittal Energy Limited. It's a JV between HPCL and Mittal Group. So we are basically oil refinery petrochemical company.
Hi everyone, my name is Sanjeev Kaushik, and I am the CISO for the airport business of Adani, and we are the airport operators of 8 locations across India.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. My name is Vaibhav Agarwal. I head the security and compliance at MakeMyTrip. Though this comprises of brands like MakeMyTrip, 𝐌𝐨𝐝𝐿, Redbus.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. So my name is Piyush Maheshwari. I'm heading IT for HPCL-Mittal Limited. It's a Sanjeev Group company, and it manufactures a black carbon, which is basically used in the tires, primarily, and the off-go chemicals. So we all somehow, you are the end customers for our product. Thank you.
Yeah, namaste. I am Ranganathan Iyer. I represent JBM. I am responsible anything related to information, communication, technology and security for JBM. I would like to give some summary of JBM. We supply parts to two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, farm equipments, railways, etc. And we also manufacture bus, EV buses, and we are into battery manufacturing also, specifically for bus. Maybe in 3 months' time, we will start rolling out battery for cars also. And we are also into EV charging ecosystem, and we are into renewable energy also. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. Thank you for a brief introduction. Just for everyone's sake, my name is Vivek Gupta. I'm an ex-military officer, and having served in the Navy for more than 10 years, I took premature retirement from Naval Headquarters in 2003. And I've been in the corporate world for last 22 years, been with many companies. This is my 6th CISO stint. I was CISO for EXL, I was in Dubai with GEMS Education, with Landmark Group, with Fidelity International, with Adani Ports, and now with Mankind Pharma. So that's my small introduction. Our theme for today's session is on data protection and data privacy. Those two are the topic elements. And those two have a security and privacy both flavor from data protection perspective and data privacy. If I have to ask my panelists, with your rich experience in different verticals which you all have served, can you share your experiences from the data privacy requirements and data protection? What are the top 3 aspects which strike you?
Start with me.
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay, since I represent the financial sector, the customer information and the customer data is very important. So, looking at that, we have to ensure it is well protected and it is used in the right manner. So, I think if I just give you the statistics for our customers, we have about 2.5 lakh customers coming to our branches on a daily basis. 65 lakh customers are active, about same number is inactive, so about 1.8 crore customers. So there is a lot of data we have, and when it comes to loans, then we need to have all their details, all the KYC details which need to be validated. So all critical information is there, and with the kind of competition there in the market, it becomes very important for us as well to protect our customer data. Apart from whatever RBI guidelines are, they also have their guidelines on how we need to keep the data. Now, it's not just the data; it is also the quality of the data, because taking loans, especially gold loans, with multiple documents, OVD documents, can also result in corruption of data and misuse of loans. So, for us, I would say privacy is equal to protection. This is one most important thing. And then the 3 pillars which I would ideally talk about is, I think, data security, then access control, and finally the availability. So these are the 3 main pillars I would categorize our principles on how we would want to manage the data. When it comes to data security, it is about where the data is, because we would need third party as well to access the data. Let's say for collections, we would need a third party to use it, go to doorsteps, get collections done. How we are using the data on the devices is very important. What MDM we are using, we are trying to restrict our data to the devices, how we are encrypting the data, how the person, when he's calling from the call center, what is the data which is visible to them, because that's again third party. How our servers are placed, how we are actually, are we keeping it in-house, or we're taking the customers' servers, we're using them. So I think, and how it is being processed. So I think it's very similar to what DPDP is talking about, or maybe GDPR has been, how you're actually keeping the data, you're using it, how you're also destroying the data eventually. Because we would have our computers which will have data, and finally how would you want to, kind of eliminate the data completely so that it's not. Then when it comes to access control, then starting from all the, controls like PAM, identity access management, whether it's zero trust, ZTNA, DLP is what is very critical. So we ensure that these are the things which we imply, you know. And finally, the availability, because we have about 7,000 branches across India. So it's very important that whatever data we are trying to access is available to everyone at the same time. Now, taking a cloud approach or being on-prem, then again, you know, multi-tenant kind of an environment, if we have, how secure is that? So, you know, these are the things which we have to look into when we are going ahead with our business. Obviously, what is most important is is our customer, as in his main objective is to get the loan finally. So none of these processes which we do should restrict the tact which we have with our customers, because we have about, say, 60% of our customers are from a semi-urban kind of a background, and their requirement is to get the loan immediately. Like, they would not want to wait, and that's what the gold loan is all about, right? So I think these are three pillars we support our security systems on, and that's primarily what we're doing. Thank you.
Ranjan, you are in, again, a very critical area of work, which is HPCL. Can you share your perspective?
Yeah, so I just echo everything what he said, but I'll just add one point. So as I said, we are a oil refinery and petrochemical company. So this is a process industry. Why we call it process industry? Because this is almost automated. You don't need a lot of people to manage it. But at the same time, if you compare with other industries, other manufacturing industries, the OT landscape and the complexity is very huge. So there, the major priority, or I will say challenge, is the discovery. So as of now, discovering the data, where the data is lying, that is very much of challenging. Because if I talk about oil industry, then the data privacy and data protection, we are just starting. Because in this industry, we compare with our competitors. So my friend was telling about BFSI, because in BFSI, you mostly you are dealing with IT. So specifically in our OT, you cannot go and take a tool and just run it and take all the reports. That is not at all possible. So that is my most priority, to discover the data. And second priority is to make people understand their responsibility. When you say data protection or data privacy, this is everybody's responsibility. Only, first of all, security team cannot take care of everything. I believe security team's responsibility is data protection, not the complete data privacy. Data privacy should be a separate department, that's my feeling. But in manufacturing, people think it's IT's responsibility. So you name any department, they are dealing with a lot of data. HR, legal, specifically procurement. So discovering the data, then making them understand is my first priority. Then I'll go for the technologies stuff to make compliance and other protection things.
Thanks, Ranjan. May I request Sanjeev, who is again in a very important role of handling operations for 8 airports across the country, and including Mumbai, which is one of the critical ones. What do you see from your experience on data protection and data privacy are the 3 top aspects to be looked into?
See, while we heard from these 2 gentlemen about the complexity of data storage and data transfer between so many entities, so what we feel is that again, managing the retention of the data is a big challenge. And why I want to say that, even if you are having a data retention policy on, say, one of the business or server, meanwhile you are retaining some data on that server due to some analytics requirement or research requirement or digitalization requirement, you have already shared the data of that server or organization to some other place. So you think that you have retained the data, but now your data is lying somewhere else. So it is like data keeps on flowing from one place to another and from one location to another. And managing that retention and identifying how my data is moving from place to place is a big problem to solve in the industry.
Thanks, Sanjeev, for that. I have Vaibhav, who represents MakeMyTrip, one of the leading travel firms of the country. From your perspective, where the kind of data you are handling, and that to PII, how are you ensuring, or what are the top aspects you see from data protection and data privacy perspective, Vaibhav?
So by virtue of being the largest travel provider in India, so we handle some millions of transactions every day. From the customer standpoint, it looks like a seamless journey. But at the back end, there comes a responsibility how we are managing the PII and SPII. Secondly, you cannot build everything. So there need to be an ecosystem where you are consuming something from third-party APIs and you are sharing something to hoteliers and other thing. So that means that you are acting as a mediator and how you are ensuring that the customer data is secure at each and every journey. That's where the security comes at the top priority. So one of the fundamental things which I believe is the data minimization. What we are typically seeing, the data is flowing and we do not have any control how much time we want to retain the data. If we have a proper control that only the required set of data should be controlled in a secure manner, that means the essential part, we are covering it out. Secondly, from while DPTP coming to picture about the consent management, give users control of their data. Let them decide what they want to retain, how they want to retain. Sometimes there are some offers running on. So we want users to decide, do they want that offer? If yes, we are sharing the data to third party. So that means they are equally aware what all things we are sharing with them. And if they want to revoke the control, that means the flow should be seamless. If somebody want to chip in, somebody want to chip out, customer is aware over the journey. And some data leakage happens, so he's aware that they are sharing the data with them, and if they want to revoke it out, they can do it out. And the last but not least, the security and controls. Whatever controls you are defining, for example, if you are sharing data with third party, how you are encrypting the data, how you are abiding by the law, what are the controls which you are putting in terms of, you can say, certification and what checks which you are making it out, so that in each and every phase, whatever access control you are putting it out. So by amalgamating all these things, we can ensure that we can bring some safe and seamless journey to our customers.
So I want to add into that. See, as of today also, like, the data privacy laws have come for last 3-4 years. Even the users and customers are not aware about their rights in terms of that, they are the owners of their data. For example, I have the right to ask any company or ask any airline that, share my data, what you have collected in last 10 years and delete it. I don't think so anybody has still requested and put that kind of question to an organization. So please do, take concern of your data, ask the organizations about, where they are using his or her data, how much time they have stored it, are they retaining their data for last 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, or they don't want, or the user doesn't want that even the data should be retained for 0 day. So please do ask these kind of questions, and data privacy laws are very strong. The customer is again the king of the data as of today, and we should realize that,
Thanks, Vaibhav. Thanks, Sanjeev. I will now move on to Piyush, who is representing RPSG. With a very rich experience of more than 25 years he's got. How do you see the challenge of data protection and data privacy in today's day and age, Piyush?
Thanks, Vivek, and thanks everyone for having us here. Quickly, Piyush also has rightly pointed out, it's covered in fact all the 3 areas, and then well added by Ranjan and of course Sanjeev and Gaurav. So see, important thing is they all from the B2C business. They know the best what the data privacy and data protection is all about, right? And when come to, we are myself, Mr. Here, we are both from the manufacturing. He is also into B2C, but I am I think one of the guy in this panel who is doing representing B2B business as of now. So in B2B business, we go the other way, right? We don't start that what's how important is the data privacy, but rather we say is it really important to capture any identification of someone, right? Because B2B business, GST, once you have got a GST number, once you have got a PAN card, you get all the details, right? You don't have to look at anything. I give you an example. For example, when I was coming here to Delhi, I was trying to book a flight. I went to Skyscanner and then find out the best price and, make my trip, clear trip. And there was one other, the aggregator whom I'd never booked the tickets. So when I went, and they were giving me very good price. So I went there and, start filling the details, and they asked the date of birth. Then I stopped there itself. Why, MakeMyTrip never asked, clear trip never asked, or any other, for that matter, never asked. And but that particular side, though giving the best price, but was asking me my personal, more personal details. I know being a man, it's not easy. No, it's easy thing to do, but what about the other side of the table, right? Anyway, so coming back to the same question is important is what we look at is we look at other way whether whether this data is really required, which takes me to the personal identification of someone. How can we get away with this thing? That's the first thing we look at. And second important thing we look at is the from the perspective that what kind of compliances we have to take care of. For I give you an example, the DPDP Act has come up, right? And it asks for the the localization, although they haven't come up with which are the they have only said that it's only in the negative countries you have to look at the you cannot store the data. But if we are we are a listed company, so if you're a listed company, it's important that your DR, your payment and wherever you have got a KYC related data, you have to store the data in India. So we already started doing that. So see, an important thing is that DBDP always contradict with the other superior acts, and that's where I think it's very clear. It's been mentioned in the also act that if there is a superior and better protection, then you have to follow that. So important thing, this journey has already started, but all you have to say is how it is impacting my end user experience, and how can we minimize the data collection. Very important. I think that's what I get into, and then I think I go back to you and take it to Mr. here. Yeah.
Thanks, Piyush. Thanks for that informative details. Mr. Ranganathan comes from JBM, and his challenge is from manufacturing are different than what others have spoken about when I was talking to him. May I request him to give his perspective on the data protection perspective, what kind of challenges you face from JBM perspective?
I will explain with some examples. It will be easy for anybody to understand. I will take, we have 7-8 businesses. We will talk about auto ancillary. Auto ancillary is nothing more than we manufacture part and then give it to OEMs. This also means we have many customer engineering data. Engineering is core for us. We build the manufacturing process based on that. So, customer data sitting with us 2-3 years in advance. So, how to protect the customer IP? That is one kind of problem we have. The second kind of problem is, for example, let us take an example of cylinder manufacturing. The compliance part comes into place. What happens is, if I am manufacturing a cylinder today, I have to keep that property of those cylinders for 30 years because we are supposed to have the data for compliance purposes. If anything happens within 30 years, we are supposed to provide the properties of that. This is second kind of problem. Why I am illustrating is, having a data is one, protecting is two, accessing that data is the third problem. After 30 years or 25 years, you are going to access the old data. Whether access is possible or not, we do not know. There are instances where we found the data which was available, the product which got developed has gone obsolete unless it is working today. So this is third kind of if you come into our OEM manufacturing, if you see, we have an asset on the move. For example, we manufacture EV bus. So, we are collecting many data starting from battery, starting from electronics, electrical, tire pressure, and many more than 300 kinds of how to protect that asset on the move. This is also another angle of looking into that. Just how we are going to do that, are we doing anything, we will come back later in the flow.
Thank you, Mr. Ranjan Ranganathanji, for sharing that insight. Having heard about the challenges from the privacy and protection, now let me ask three of my panelists on the cross-border data flow. I'll start first with Ranjan. What do you see as a challenge from the cross-border data flow, given the new data privacy regulations?
The major challenge, what I see right now is the blacklisting approach, which is mentioned by DPDP law. So here actually government, so they don't say that as per this law you can transfer data to any country, but except the countries which is blacklisted. And the process is actually not transparent. So every time actually you have to dedicatedly keep a watch on government's movements, because it depends on a lot of factors, so which is not under our control. So that is, I think, one major challenge I see right now.
Thanks. Sanjeev, how about your insight?
See, there are questions and inquisitiveness amongst everybody about cross-data transfer. You know, how to manage, where is our data lying, it is lying in India or United States or some other place. But there are 3-4 major exercises. If the organization has not done, then, you know, this question is irrelevant. For example, you know, have we minimized data? Have we identified, you know, what is important to be stored, what is important to be shared? Do we have technologies to encrypt our data? Do we have technologies to tokenize our data? And other is, you know, has our legal department or, you know, the legal operations identified, you know, what is P2 and what is SP2? And most of the companies are still not able to identify, you know, these 3-4, you know, aspects. And unless and until you identify, you know, the cross-border data becomes irrelevant. And the second option is with respect to, see, there are certain technologies which are already in the market in terms of, you know, data storage. For example, everybody talks about cloud computing, you know. Now the edge computing is also coming very fast into picture. People are moving from cloud and coming to edge computing. So by edge computing, you mean that, you know, you process, you store, you transmit everything at the local edge or inside your premises. And you identify that kind of data rather than putting all data in the cloud and keep on connecting it with various APIs, you know, transferring that data, storing that data. So do explore and learn something about whether you can go with the edge computing concept for the various kind of data which you have. And other is with respect to sovereignty, you know, this topic was discussed. Now there are various cloud providers which gives sovereign data or sovereign cloud. So sovereign cloud means in the sense that if I hire a partner and say I want sovereign cloud for me, so, and if I decide that the sovereignty should be only in India, so the entire responsibility of, you know, managing cross-border data transfer, storing data in India, encrypting as per the DPDP lies with the sovereign cloud provider. Microsoft is one of the partner. You ask Microsoft that, you know, I want a sovereign cloud for me, and they'll come back to you, you know, to solve all your problems of cross-data transfer. There are certain Indian players also. MeetY is also working with HCL Technologies, you know, to create a sovereign cloud for India. So I'm hoping that, in near future to solve the cross-border data transfer issues, people should ask which are the sovereign cloud providers, get services from these providers and solve all your problems.
Thanks, Sanjeev. Vaibhav, from your important role in MakeMyTrip, how do you see that?
Right. So from my perspective, compliance is something which is evolving on daily basis. Every day we see new compliances, new challenges coming up. So there is no single rule, there is no thumb rule that we have to keep data here, we have to keep data global. The first thing would be to identify the data. What data we are talking about? Do we want to keep it in India, or if, for example, there is ecosystem where somebody have to book a flight to Europe. That means the data needs to flow out. But we have to, like Sanjeev rightly mentioned, that we have to maintain the sovereignty of the data. How we are ensuring that the data being stored, processed, and transmitted at every layer. So these are the fundamental things. So wherever your data resides, like MakeMyTrip, now MakeMyTrip is a global company. That means people around the world are using MakeMyTrip. So it's not practically possible that we are keeping our data center at each and every region, each and every edge. So how we are ensuring that we are not compromising, we are not with their data, and while ensuring the data security at the top. So these are the fundamental problems which we see. And one of the fourth things we also see the privacy. Whenever we do anything, we design something, how we are ensuring that the privacy is by design from the very initial stage, so that whatever fundamental and whatever foundation we're building, so that should fit in each and every corner.
Thanks. I think privacy by design, that's a good one.
Yes, before you move on, cross-border, what manufacturing person is doing, when you are talking about EV manufacturing, it is more about software. If I am going to sell EV bus outside India, specifically into Europe region, I was supposed to have a compliance of R155 and 156. We are the first company in India to comply R155, 156. Which is, if you are going to manufacture, your manufacturing floor also should be compliant. When bus is on the road, it has got all the facilities. So at the manufacturing level, 3 months back we got this compliance, because now wherever EV is there, the manufacturing floor also needs to be compliant with respect to security, specifically cross-border.
Thanks.
I just had a small point. We also need to look at what are the policies which the other country is following. Like in India, we're doing DPDP, right? In EU, it would be GDPR. Then for US, I think there is a California Customer Privacy Act or something. So again, if you're residing our data there, and let's say if we are a multinational company, though we are not, but let's say any company which is multinational, they have the data getting processed there with the customer or with the vendor there in that country, then again we'll have to look at those policies as well. So I think that again becomes a bit of a constraint in how we, otherwise DPDP has been quite liberal in terms of how you, as mentioned, that it's just restricting the data, whitelisting or blacklisting the countries. Yeah.
Thanks. I think that was very insightful from all the panelists. I'll now move to another very important challenge which most of the CISOs and DPOs face is our data resides on-prem, our data resides on cloud. Piyush, Srivastav, first let me ask you, in your case, since in the finance sector, how do you see this as a challenge?
It has always been a challenge because it's very difficult to especially with the company, very old companies, working in especially in financial sector, it is very difficult to part away with your data. It's like a baby, right? You want to keep it close to you with your own people and all, right? So it's been like that with us, but because of all the technology challenges, accessibility, scalability, end of life of our components, it became imperative that we have to move. Now it depends what you want to move, what data you would want to move, So I think that is where it has always been a debate on what to move, and the kind of data, which applications, whether your own employee information, your customer information, what information of your customer also on the. But I think in terms of security, I feel that we're talking about the risks involved and the apprehensions here, right? But in actual sense, when you look at it, somewhere when it is on-prem, you always have a control. You know what is there and you have put in those components. The expertise of your staff is what determines the security, and you've not seen any failovers, so you feel that things are fine, right? But when it is on cloud, you're always very scared. You feel that, okay, fine, it's AWS, what security they have done. You would go through each of these, components, etc. If it's GCP, what is there, right? So you'll keep questioning yourself. You'll always be at, and the responsibility also lies with them. It's not with you. So somewhere, that risk sharing becomes more when it is with the vendor. Now again, sometimes, these applications become, are very OEM related, and they would have their own preferences. They would want this application to be with a certain provider, and this is how it will work. There are a lot of integrations involved. OTP is being, IoT, OTP, everything is there, all technologies are there. So there are multiple vendors involved, and you would probably not know where there could be a loophole, right? The application may work well all the while. And some critical, like we have a security application, now it's by Israeli company because they're very good at it, right? So we know they are very good at it, but it's an Indian company who's hosting it, right? So there is a complexity involved. We tried keeping it in-house, but there was always a conflict between the application team and the vendor. The things have gone down. Now it's their responsibility. It's a SaaS basically. They are providing all the services. But there's always this risk of all the data which is going. So it is very important that what data you would want to send, the kind of encryption, the data at rest, in motion, how you actually, and you have to be totally involved. You just cannot just leave it with them. So I think that is where that maturity is coming slowly, and I think we're all evolving in that sense. Yeah.
That was a very detailed and nice response, Piyush. Thank you for that. May I ask Piyush Maheshwari, from your experience from data privacy and protection on-prem and cloud, how do you see the challenge?
On-prem and on-cloud is it's like you are you are a tenant and you have a landlord. Landlord is responsible for the whole house, and but at the same time, if any theft happened, you are responsible because you have to take care of your windows are closed or your doors are closed. That's it. So typically, similar scenario, it's all about the risk analysis, which you have to say simply. Passing on the, putting the data on cloud will not take away your responsibility of securing of data. The Act doesn't say anything like that. See, once your data is hosted in any of the cloud, you are get away with the data breach associates. And if you look at the context, let it be AWS, GCP, or Azure, or for that matter, Indian cloud. If you read the contracts, they simply say, we are just hosting your data, like, of course, they will have the security. And I feel personally, that normally these guys have a better security because for them, they said, it's their bread and butter. So I feel always safe, putting the data on cloud, but at the same time, for every, enhancement in the security, they keep on charging you, right? So it's directly proportionate to what data, what important data you are putting in there on cloud, that is important. And of course, private, personalized data personalization, so where any data which can identify anyone, that's where you have to play a role. Like for example, in manufacturing, edge computing, as you pointed out, is coming up, right? You will never put data to the cloud at the same time, or your IoT data. Right, it's huge in volume. More you put the data, when you extract the data, that's where it costs you very heavily. Why will you put that data? So anything where is identification of the data is easy to crack, better to do it, and it's more important for the SFDs. That's where breach will be more impactful. I think for a company like us, we don't see it will be a challenge as such. So we are, in fact, we are 100% cloud-oriented company. Like all data is on cloud. So, but that's what I was saying. When I read the contract, I found that it doesn't get you away from the breach compliance. So that's how it is. Yeah.
Thanks, Piyush. Mr. Ranganathan, You have a different exposure from the manufacturing perspective. I see there will be three components of your business. One is there will be a lot of research work happening in the manufacturing side, because you said about the batteries, the automobiles. There's so much of research work to bring efficiency in the whole thing. The second pillar is production of the goods, and the third one is after sales support. From these three pillar perspective, how do you see data privacy and data protection challenges from the three pillars?
See, before I answer this question, there is another angle to, one is on-prem, the one is cloud, the third one is asset on the move. The data is always on the move. There is a EV bus division, if you see, the bus which is there physically is moving always, data is there residing inside, which is, that data doesn't carry any operating system. We just compress and then do the security part of it. But how we are going to protect, we do not know. This is another angle which I wanted to do continuity. The question which you have asked, we have R&D, we have manufacturing, we have after sales. See, after sales is not an issue because we are going to receive most of the time. It is not we are going to share anything because we have a protected environment as far after sales is concerned, because we always replicate and then expose it to outside world. Because we know what we wanted to send it outside, and we have a shield for that. If it is getting corrupted, goes off, we are not at loss. Because we have a tight integration, what is required we take, remaining we. That's one answer. Number two is R&D part of it. In the R&D also, there are three kinds of different kinds of thing. One is product development. It's new product development, and it is basically IP. Protecting this IP is very difficult, but it is 100%, it is not available. Something is there in the brain, something is on the paper, something is on system. It is a collaborative environment where we have a very closed group environment. We also cannot go inside unless we have a proper permission. The data is not connected to the outside world, and it is confined into that area because we are into EV battery manufacturing, we are into EV bus designing also. So if you see, in a way, we have protected everything within the periphery. It is confined, it is not on-prem. Within on-prem, the second is designing, the second is prototyping. No camera is available there. People who are going inside, they cannot carry anything because that is the only way we can protect that. If you are trying to install camera, chances of pilferage is more. The third one is manufacturing, where we collect data. We more or less isolate the network separately because it has got SCADA, it has got many other things available. We collect data and then we mine it, and then 5% of the data goes to cloud. The remaining 95% of the data which are being collected, not useful for us to do mine the data, that we try to keep it within plant itself. Yes, it is difficult for us. We do not have any foolproof system in place. If you are exposed to internet, how we are going to protect? We are protecting. I am not telling that we are not protecting, but how good it is, it's a question mark. Because as for data protection in manufacturing area, we are 5-6 years old into that area. We realized we should focus on that. So it will take for some time for us to mature ourselves.
Thanks. Thanks for all the insights. Just to give my perspective, and my perspective is based on a lot of sound bites which was already shared by the panelists. I'll summarize it in two parts. One is elements of data lifecycle, which was spoken by the panelists in some form and fashion. And the second part was on the regulations, where we were talking about DPDP, or we were talking about GDPR or other regulatory requirements. If I have to summarize in these two buckets, keeping the theme of the panel in mind. From data lifecycle perspective, as one of the panelists, Vaibhav, had mentioned, privacy by design. From the data creation, that is the time whether we embed consent mechanism to have encryption components in place, to data transmission, which again, in some form and fashion, some panelists have also spoken, and including Mr. Ranganathan has said, the data on the move. The other part is when the data reaches its destination, the storage, whether it is on cloud or whether it's on-prem. Access to that data. After that, retention of the data, which was spoken about it, and purging the data. So it's a life cycle of the data which has to be kept in mind, both from security perspective or privacy perspective. So that is the data life cycle where, all of us have to work on, is what I saw the suggestion coming from this panel. Second part is to ensure the regulations. When I was in Middle East, we had undertaken an exercise I was with a company which had footprint in US, Europe, Southeast Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, and Africa, India. And we had more than 15 data privacy regulation requirements. And when we embarked on that journey and we got the Big Four to help us, we saw the different privacy regulations and what are the different privacy controls required by different regulations, whether it was California Act, whether it was UK GDPR, which is different than EU GDPR because they have now branched off. Middle East, Egypt, Saudi have their own data privacy requirements. And similarly, Singapore, Malaysia, Uganda, Kenya, they have their own requirements. When we did assessment of all these cybersecurity laws, which are all available in the internet, we saw that the gold standard, if we have to, because we can't follow different standards for different countries, so we made a gold standard and we saw in some form and fashion the EU or the UK GDPR was the gold standard. Now, that may be applicable in our businesses or not is a different thing, because every regulation has a cost. To comply to that, the controls become that much more stringent and you have to invest that much more money. So that was what my experience had shown in that exercise. So from that regulation perspective, that was the thing. So if I have to summarize, one is the data life cycle, where we come to know whether it is privacy data or other business critical data has to be identified in the life cycle, and then seen from the aspect of regulations, what kind of controls to be put in place. I think with that, I will summarize this panel session discussion. Any questions from anybody? I think somebody has raised a hand.
A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel here on data protection and data privacy need of the hour. And thank you to all the esteemed panel members. Yeah, we are a little short on time, but I think we can take quick questions here. So do we have a question? Please raise your hand. Sir, I request you to keep the hand raised. We'll pass on the mic. Kindly do introduce yourself, sir. And if it could be a little specific, which panel member you have the question for.
Yes, my name is Pramod. I am associated with Kajaria Ceramics Limited, taking care of infra and security for the organization. So my question is to Vaibhav and Sanjeev. They both can answer it. Everybody is talking about the centralization of data to make it more secure, put more controls on a central place. Whereas at the airports, the DG Yatra says that your biometric data will be kept only for 24 hours after the departure, and rest of the data will be kept. There is no timeline defined. So my question is why there is no standard policy or standard regulation, because it's a critical place. So why there is no standard regulation and the data is not centralized? All those airports, DG Yatra airports, have their separate data storage. So why it is not clear? So what is your perception and opinion on
Any
this?
particular panel member you want a question to be answered?
Yeah,
See,
Babu
first
and
of all,
Sanjeev can answer because
the first thing in terms of DigiYatra, you know, the biometric identity is stored in your cell phone only. We don't store the biometric identity. And secondly, the data purging like 24 hours or 4 hours is controlled by the DigiYatra Foundation managed by the government. So we have to follow those things. But definitely we can discuss this with DigiYatra Foundation and I can come back to you.
no, if it is in being stored on the mobile phone, then how it is recognizing there on your device? So my question is, so data is being stored. That is why DG Yatra Foundation and MCA is also claiming that we are storing the data, but it is not at central place. It is scattered. For example, if Delhi airport have DG Yatra, it will be stored at DG
Even if it is stored, it is tokenized. You can't identify, even if you breach the data, it can't be deassembled.
Okay.
So that is one aspect.
Yeah, but there is no undertaking or no information available for all these.
Sure.
So this is a very
But I can give you
important-
more information on...
Because see, I mean the foundation is escaping only by saying that this is a voluntary, I mean, you can do it voluntarily. This is not mandatory. So that is the reason it's a, I think for me it's a major breach.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for that question.
Thank you.
Anybody would like to join in? Any inputs? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we are grateful for this esteemed panel here. And to make it even more auspicious, we'd like to call on stage Nitin Kalra, founder and CEO from Blue Parrot. Nitinji, if you could kindly come on stage to do the honors of felicitating this wonderful panel of experts here. Thank you, Nitinji. We'll begin with the felicitation from Mr. Piyush Srivastav from Muthoot Group. Piyush, if you could kindly step forward. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Piyush Srivastav from Muthoot Group for his very valuable insights in the panel session. Moving next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Ranjan Das from HPCL-Mittal Energy. A big round of applause to Mr. Das for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next, Mr. Sanjeev Kaushik from Adani Airport Holdings. A big round of applause to Sanjeev ji for his wonderful contributions in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Piyush Maheshwari from RPSG Group. A big round of applause to Mr. Maheshwari for his wonderful contributions in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal from MakeMyTrip. A big round of applause to Vaibhav ji for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Mr. Ranganathan Swami from JBM Group. A big round of applause to Ranganathan Swami sir for his wonderful contribution in the panel. And our honorable panel moderator, Mr. Vivek Gupta from PHARMA. A big round of applause for Vivek ji for wonderfully moderating this session. Thank you so much, sir. Would request the panel members to kindly step forward for a group photo. Nitin ji, if you could also join them. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our esteemed panel members who had a great session ahead on data protection and data privacy. A big thank you to this esteemed panel experts and especially to Vivek Gupta ji for wonderfully moderating the session.